To preface, my family owns a business that is very well known in our sector and makes loads of profit. Thus I am a trust fund baby. I try to not be spoiled and have always worked myself. I met my fiancé Mark when I was 20 and working as a waitress. We began dating a few months later and he proposed to me last year. Now Mark is not poor. He is upper middle class. And while he doesn't struggle in life, he didn't have too much to spend and lived very frugal. I thought he was an honest man because he always wanted to pay for his own things, reject expensive family holidays when we were still dating, and he would cook for me instead of going with me dining outside. What I want to say is that I never had the impression that Mark was trying to take advantage of me or my family. In the beginning my family was a little sketched out and brought up the gold digger argument, and I stood up for him and fought with my dad. They came to love and accept him. When Mark graduated, Dad hired him and now he is in a high-earning position. Sunday, I was supposed to work in the evening and I was going to stay with my sister. But I got a fever and was basically just non-functioning, so I stayed home. Instead of staying in our bedroom, I made my way to the guest room that is better ventilated, has a mini fridge and its own bathroom. I didn't want to stand up at all and walk around, so I just bunkered all my stuff there and closed the door. Mark came home when I was fast asleep and I was woken up by loud voices in our garden. I pushed the curtains a bit to the side and Mark was there with a few friends. Just as I wanted to say hello, I noticed that they were talking about me. His friend kept laughing and calling Mark the man. Then they started laughing about me being willing to not sign a prenup. Then one of the girls that was there said something along the lines of, "Jesus, you about to make some bank, Mark?" Mark laughed and said, "Yeah, just 3 more years and I am free." At this moment I felt sick to my stomach and wanted to throw up. I kept hearing them calling me trust fund Barbie and stupid and so on. I didn't know what to do, so I just lied petrified in my bed and waited till the people left and Mark went to bed. I texted my sister and snuck out to her place in the middle of the night and just passed out without telling her anything. I haven't returned home and just told Mark that I was sick and didn't want to make him sick. My sister has been really worried, but I just feel so ashamed about everything. My family was right, Mark is a gold digger and I fell for it. Even if I tell my family what happened, I have no proof. My father can't fire him just because he is a dick. As far as I know, he is excellent at what he does, and he has no legal foot to fire him, I think. I just feel so confused, ashamed and angry and would appreciate some insight. Edit, we are non-US. Mark wasn't talking about anything else. He has no debt as he partly was under a scholarship and with part of it I helped pay it off. There is no way he wasn't talking about me. Edit 2, thank you all for your great advice. I opened up to my sister about it and she is right now with me reading all your responses. We have called up Dad and I will talk to him tomorrow. I will be signing out for the time being, thanks again. Edit 3, some questions have come up. I don't drive, that's why my fiancé didn't see my car. I mostly Uber around. I worked as a waitress for the experience, not for the money, and I don't any longer. I don't work for my father, I am a company shareholder and I have to go to the general quarterly meetings, but I don't work for him. I am sure that it wasn't a fever dream. It was around 38.5 C, and while it was enough for my body to hurt, it wasn't enough to have a vivid dream. By pass out at my sister's Dawn team leader, all medically passing out. Last edit, I am really tired that you guys are defending him, saying that it could have been a joke. Guess what? It's not fucking funny. You don't degrade and disrespect your partner for laughs. You don't go along calling them stupid, trust fund Barbie, stupid bitch, and you definitely don't make remarks yourself. I don't understand that macho bravado, as many of you have called it, but I don't think that's okay, so stop with those comments. It was deeply hurtful. Update September 26, 2019. First of all, I want to clarify some questions that came up in the OP. Mark couldn't have seen my car and known I was home because I don't have a car. I don't drive, I Uber around. Driving makes me anxious and I only do it when necessary. I don't work as a waitress anymore. I worked for the time I was in uni. Mark wasn't hired as a high exec right away. He didn't take the job from anyone. He started as a normal intern and worked his way up. They weren't joking. They have never made that kind of remarks in my presence. Also, I doubt calling me a stupid trust fund Barbie qualifies as a joke. Update. I was very tempted to play the long game and lead him on. But I decided to just present him with a prenup to look into his reaction. After telling my dad, we invited Mark for lunch and would serve him the prenup there. However, to be sure about things, I asked him if he had had anyone over, because our neighbors had complained about loud noises. He said yes, that his buddies were there. He didn't mention the girls that I saw. We finished lunch and Dad served him the papers saying that it was a must for getting married. You could instantly see that he didn't expect this. He got angry and asked me to speak to him alone. We went into the other room and he began babbling about blindsiding him and that this just really felt like a personal attack. He was trying so hard to sell me the role of victim and making me out to be the villain. Then he just said that he needed to think everything trough and left. I have to admit, I kinda broke down and began second-guessing me, but I could keep it together. My family happily didn't pull the "I told you so"s. We looked into everything and I had the legal right to evict him. The lawyer handled everything. Wrote an official eviction notice. And after a lot of talk, Dad decided to present Mark with a deal so that he would leave the company. After that was all sorted out, I decided to just simply text, as one of you suggested, "Hey Mark, Trust Fund Barbie here. As you said you would be free in 3 years, I'll do you a big favor and set you free now. Kisses." Up. My phone completely blew up with Mark's messages after I sent that. He texted and called me so many times I had to switch off my phone. He came to my sister's place as he wanted to explain the situation. He promised that it was just a joke like a million times. I said it wasn't, cutting it. They disrespected me in my own house, and I didn't want to be with someone that puts me down in order to appear better. He pleaded her, cried, he begged me not to end things. When I wasn't budging, he got mad at me, accusing me of spying on him and ruining his life. Honestly, ick. Then his manner changed once again to apologetic. He eventually owned up to the comment he made, still insisting that it was just a shitty joke. And then when I asked him why he didn't tell me about those random girls that appeared to know so much about me, he told me this weird story of them being cousins from out of his buddies and that they know of me because of my Instagram. Shit's private and I have like 30 followers. I stood strong and I ended things with him. I will never know what exactly his plan was, but it's better to have things this way. We still have to sort out some financial stuff, but after that I won't ever see Mark again. Sorry for any mistakes, I am really sleepy. Just thought it would be good to update you. Edit. Because you have to spoon feed people every tiny bit of information or this get written off as fake. Obviously the lawyer didn't draft a prenup from zero in half an hour. I do have siblings, I do have cousins, and some of them are engaged/married, thus we have already established prenups to go. Also, we didn't need a bulletproof prenup for this. I just wanted to see his reaction. Serving him with a boilerplate prenup would have served the same purpose. Also, no, I didn't ruin his life. He will not be fired. He will not be badmouthed in any kind of way. He has still all the opportunities in the world to succeed. I thought I made it clear that I gave him notice for eviction. Meaning he had days to leave the property. That's why I am staying with my sister. It's not a done deal, it's still in progress, but the biggest steps have been made. Jesus people. When my friend first got together with her ex-husband, she was in a serious relationship with her then boyfriend and he was married with kids. Long story short, they both left their relationship and had a shotgun wedding. 3 kids later, he left her to move to another state. Surprise! The ex-boyfriend she cheated on is now married, and guess what? One day she saw him online, so she texted to me and said maybe it's a sign from the universe that she should talk to him. She asked me if he is happy in his marriage. I told her he seems happy and she should stay away. Apparently, she wasn't happy with my answer, so she asked my husband the same question. Again, my husband told her the ex is very happy. Recently, she's been bombarding my husband with random messages of spirituality. She got into it during her divorce. She would send him paragraphs and paragraphs of random thoughts, even though sometimes he would go on days without replying her. When he does, it would be a simple "I'm busy with kids" or even a swear word. And then she would go on again. She somehow figured out my husband's birthday and asked why we never celebrated that. It's private, my husband never celebrates it with friends, and texted him to question him on what he has against weddings, and then gave him reasons why weddings are great. We had a small wedding, and she wasn't invited, so maybe she thinks that we didn't have one. My husband did not respond to that question. One day, she texted me to see how I am doing in my marriage. I told her it's not as romantic as before, which is fine because we are focusing on the kids. Then, she mentioned how she is fine by herself and said I can find someone else romantic too. I tried to dismiss it like it was a ridiculous joke, but she just wouldn't drop it. The next day she tried to bring it up again. My husband and I were going to move and she asked me if that's what I wanted. I could sense that she was trying to make me doubt my husband again. Unluckily for her, that was actually my idea. In the days that followed, she sensed something was wrong and even tried to explain herself and how it is not in her place to suggest I leave my husband. She said how she was actually talking to a guy, and explicitly say that it was not my husband, as if that would exonerate her, a known two-timer. Then she said she would not bother my husband again. But then she didn't stop. She is now sending my husband paragraphs and paragraphs of thoughts again like before. My husband responds to her sometimes, because he thinks that she needs someone to talk to. They also sometimes exchange investment ideas, because it's their common interest. He is worried about her mental state and that if no one talks to her she would harm herself. My husband knew my friend long before we were together, so I didn't mind their independent friendship, but I suspect now that she is pursuing something more. TLDR, my friend wouldn't stop bombarding my husband with message and I think she is into him. What can I do? Update. Thank you for all those who replied. At first, I thought I was paranoid for thinking that my friend is out of line. However, not one single person says that it is platonic or that she's going through a divorce, so cut her some slack. The answer was so simple: we needed to cut her out of our lives. I confronted her yesterday, and she dared to reply back and said how those spiritual messages were supposed to help my husband treat me better. She made it sound like she had no one to talk to besides him, while there were at least 10 other women from our group, including me. I told her that she needs to see a therapist, and he is not her therapist, and she said she will talk to herself and she can be her own therapist. I have had enough and sent her one final message: you need to understand that there are boundaries with married men and your past behavior indicated otherwise. Let me be clear, there is no place for you in my marriage. I thought it was good enough to keep her at arm's length, but my sisters told me no after reading this post. Both my husband and I were so blind. My husband has very low opinion of her and she is no threat to my marriage. However, she can still drive us apart. I am a working mom and have no time to monitor the situation. So we both blocked her. It's over and I am so relieved. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel. There are many interesting articles ahead.